the day.
1%ers, the wait is over. The all-new Sierra from GMC.
Good afternoon, Heaven.
My daughter's marrying a musician.
I'll transfer you. Heaven.
I'm on fire!
Oh, I'll put you right through. Heaven.
I need 1,000 digital color copies ASAP.
Oh, sorry.
Need a copying miracle? Call Alpha Graphics.
Call or visit your nearest Alpha Graphics print shop.
Now, your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
The nation's east coast in the grips of a major winter storm tonight. The Weather Channel has live team coverage. Expert Paul Kosin monitors the developments in our forecast center while our crews are in the thick of it in New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Weather Center. I'm Paul Emick.
And I'm Bob Stokes. We'll have your back-to-work forecast coming up in just a few minutes. But first, let's go right to Christina Abernathy in the Forecast Center for the latest on the storm.
And we continue to monitor this major winter storm that is dumping a lot of snow on folks in the east. And some of the big cities we're watching very closely. Let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. And here's what we're seeing. A couple of areas of low pressure, this one, and then another area of low pressure here that's going to be moving up the east coast. And this is really going to be the big deal with this. Depending on the track of this area of low pressure, that will determine who exactly gets the snow, who gets the rain, and who gets the most snow. Right now we're seeing the snow from western Tennessee, and it extends on northward into parts of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. But notice that we see a little orange on the map here. That's where we're seeing some icy conditions. So it's been a real mess here, and it looks like it's going to continue as eventually we are going to see that snow moving on into the northeastern U.S. as well. And we're joined now by our winter weather expert, Paul Kosin, and this is a rather tricky situation. In inland, we're seeing a good bit of snow, but it's in some of the big cities like Baltimore and D.C. and New York where we're having a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, to sum it up, it's a mess. What we're seeing across much of the metropolitan areas is precipitation that's changing form. We can take bets on what precipitation type is going to be every hour. We still probably wouldn't be right. Right now, for example, Dulles Airport in Washington's heavy snow. Meanwhile, National Airport, only about 15 miles away to the east, is all rain. Philadelphia, we're seeing some snow. Baltimore, we're seeing rain mixed with snow. Depending on where you are in New York City, you're seeing some more snow now in Flushing, Queens. You're seeing some snow in Manhattan. It's not sticking very much on the streets. But just to the north and northwest of these locations, we're seeing some very heavy snows. And that's going to be the case for most of the night. Probably more snow tending towards morning across Philadelphia and New York, and possibly a change back to snow in the Washington area. But it looks like for the next several hours, we're just going to be in this messed up weather pattern.
Let's check it out on the satellite view, and you can describe to us what's going on here.
That secondary low is now located across eastern North Carolina, about in this location right here, and that's going to be moving directly across the city of Norfolk, Virginia. As it does so, we'll see that storm center emerge across the Atlantic Ocean, and we'll see some of those winds out of the northeasterly begin to shift around a little bit more to the north. That may be just enough to change whatever mixed precipitation is in some of the larger cities to a more snow pattern. But it's still, even as it's changing over, they've already cut down on some of the accumulations they could have had. So look for 3 to 6 inches on the west sides of the cities, and the really significant amounts more to the further north and west of the major metropolitan areas.
Well, we've talked about the big cities. We want to take a closer view into, first of all, Baltimore and D.C. What can we see here?
Well, we see a lot of precipitation headed towards there, and we see a very bright band of precipitation now across the eastern sections of the Baltimore metropolitan area. That could either be some heavy snowfall, or that could also be just a change in phase from rain to sleet to snow. It's probably even a combination of both. But we're still seeing that western edge of that really heavy precipitation continuing to stream up northeastward. So there is some break across western Virginia, but we're still seeing that feed of moisture, and that'll continue, that heavy mixed precipitation, sometimes changing to heavy snow, and sometimes more of a mixture of snow, sleet, and even rain.
We also want to check out New York City, and we're seeing sort of a mix here too.
There's a mix too. Even in Philadelphia, you're getting light snow in New York City, in Queens, White Plains. I'm sure we're getting that moderate snow now starting to build up, but a tremendous area of precipitation still headed in your direction, and you're going to be vacillating back and forth within the city itself. And we're seeing right now what appears to be a little bit of a changeover more towards the snow side in the city itself. If that trend continues, we'll probably see more significant accumulations later tonight.
All right, well, we have our own live crew north of New York City in White Plains, and that is where Bill Keneally joins us live now. Bill, what's the latest?
Christina, the wind is still picking up. Temperatures are very slowly easing down, and it's starting to leave its mark here in and around the downtown area of White Plains. As we kind of zoom out a little bit, you can look down and see the sidewalk area. And this sidewalk, by the way, which had been just wet a half an hour ago, starting to slush over, and even now a little more white on top. So things are going to get pretty slippery for travelers, both on foot and on the roadway system all around the area. Speaking of which, I understand now there's been some speed restrictions applied on the Tappan Zee Bridge. Top speed now down to 35 miles per hour. Also, they have cut the speed limits on the Garden State Parkway and the Jersey Turnpike. In the city itself, there are some major delays developing at the area airports too, Christina. Maybe not snow falling and sticking on the runway, but at the very least it is cutting the visibility. And I did talk to a gentleman that came in, talk about a commute, came in from Sussex County a little while ago. He left around 8 o'clock in northwestern Jersey. They were already closing in on 4 inches of snow. He said that
information by name.